mad, jealous, mad, jealous, hating. Mad, jealous, mad, jealous, hating.
Girls, good morning. And guys, good morning, good morning, good morning, Bougie Gang. How are you? Is it even 9 o'clock? Who is this? What happened? What's going on here? It's not even 9 o'clock yet. Sis was in order on today. And I was sitting here doing my social media work, handling that business. Okay. Um, how's everybody doing today? What's going on? Good morning, good morning, good morning, guys. How are you? Um, what's good? Y'all, Bougie Gang called me out. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. Good morning. I dare you. Good morning, Candy Jones. Good morning. Bomb, 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 bomb. Good morning. Good morning, Bounce and Pounce. Okay. How romantic, how cyclical is that? Bounce and pounce. That is nothing I'm interested in. I sis one. I sis one. Hey boo. Old Man Johnson's farm. Hey, Miss HLS SV. Good morning. Good morning, Jay Breezy. What's going on? Lex. Good morning, Lex. Good morning. Good morning. Marquetta. Good morning, sis. Hey, Kiki. Candy for the 2 times. Miss Buki, Miss Buckeye. Good morning. Planet Mimi. How's it going, sis? Okay, guys. We got to handle that business first. I got called out by a sis, and I'm serious about Bougie Gang. I don't play with y'all, right? And y'all don't play with me. But you know what I'm saying? Like sis owns her shit, right? So wait, let me find my appropriate let me find my appropriate. Hold on a second. Which that is not it. Let me move that out the way. Okay. Sis called me out. Okay. So I need to handle that business quickly. I sis one. Thank you so much. Are we getting into a Project Green Chat era over here on Messy in the Morning? Maybe we are. I don't know. But thank you so much, I sis one, for making it official. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, thank you. Um, okay, let's get into this real quick because this is important. All right. Bougie Gang had a question. This Bougie Gang sis had a problem and wanted our opinion and was like, excuse me, did you forget about me? And no, I did not. So we're gonna talk about it right now on this episode of Dear Fran. And then we're going to get into my jazzy life, but just entertain this question for a bit because sis sent me another Dear Fran yesterday and was like, Dear Fran, hello. I already wrote you, and ma'am, you have not answered my question. And I said, you know what? Oh, my bad, sis. Um, Sometimes I just want it's a little bit almost like addressing the comments and a little bit of answering this question as well. So what should I do first? Because ma'am, let me see. Uh I don't know when she sent it. I'm gonna be honest. Uh Okay. I'm looking on my thing where I can tell where almost doesn't matter. Because like I said, sis uh sent me a note and we're gonna address it real quick. First, we're gonna address the comment and then we're going to actually address her question. Okay. Um, because it it won't be relevant after we read it. So let's let's look. Sis ain't perfect. I say that every day. Sis ain't perfect, but you know what? I don't mind feedback because some, you know what? You look, a closed mouth doesn't get fed, and the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So my bad, sis, in advance. Because no, honestly, nobody was trying to. I was not trying to avoid your question. Although I'm gonna be honest, it seemed deep, and not just because it was deep, but also sometimes I'm just kind of pressed for time. So it really was a me problem, but I thank you for bubbling it up. Okay. So we're going to get to her question in just a second. But, you know, closed mouth don't get fed and the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So let's address Sis's comment. Hey, Fran, I sent a dear Fran letter about 2 weeks ago seeking advice on a situation with my mom. I've noticed that whenever you come across it, you skip it and say it's too long, promising to address it later. My bad, sis, and I apologize for that. Okay. I understand it may be too much or too deep for you to address, and I've noticed that you seem to prefer answering questions about relationships and career. That's perfectly fine. I'll still be watching. Please feel free to skip it altogether. And no, ma'am, no. That's why I said, you know what? On priority, on that business, let me handle it today because I have, you know, and it's not even to make any excuses. So I'm not going to go any further. You guys listen every day. And, you know, this moms, right? This work from home, podcasting, social media, mom gets that work in. Okay. So there's no like laying around being lazy over here. And I'm not saying that you inferred that at all. Sometimes it's just due to what I think I have time for in the time that I have allotted. But I don't ever want anyone to feel like their question is not important. So, again, my sincerest apologies to the sis, and let's get into it. Okay. Okay. So here we are. Dear Fran, I hope this letter finds you well and find myself seeking your advice on a matter that has weighed heavily on my heart for quite some time now. I'm 36 years old and my mother is 51. Okay, I just had to so because I was like, wait a second, quick math. Okay. She became a mother at the tender age of 15, which undoubtedly presented numerous challenges for her. While I empathize with the difficulties she faced, I must acknowledge that she was not the best mother to me growing up. I endured emotional neglect, unkindness, and verbal abuse from her. Consequently, I have been in therapy on and off for several years, attempting to reconcile the childhood trauma I experienced. Despite my efforts to maintain a relationship with my mother, it has proven to be incredibly challenging. Our interactions remain surface level at best, and as I navigate through adulthood, my desire for a deeper connection with her has waned. In fact, I find myself contemplating severing ties with her altogether. I've tried to talk to her multiple times to explain, to understand, to bridge the gap between us. Yet, despite my efforts, it seems as though our relationship remains stagnant. At what point do I stop and accept what I may never have, what I deeply desire from her, and move on with my life, knowing things may never change? This decision is not made lightly, especially considering that I am now happily married with three beautiful children of my own and cannot help but feel a pang of sadness knowing that my children do not have the opportunity to experience the love and guidance of their grandmother the same way I did with my own grandmother. Fran, I value your opinion and judgment immensely, which is why I turn to you for guidance in this matter. What advice would you offer me as I grapple with the complexities of navigating life without the profound influence of a mother's love while also considering the impact on my own children. Thank you for your wisdom and support. So, very detailed. Whew, I gotta think about it. I mean, it's a lot. Um, this is what, like, off the top of my head, this is what I'm gonna say. Having a child at 15, I'm not sure when sis had her kids. Sis is 36 years old, so she's a grown woman, almost 40, married with 3 children. Okay. And you're giving a big hug to the writer. Absolute. Look, sometimes, not to say that you give people a pass, but sometimes you got to just, you know how people, the popular read the room, you got to look at people where they're at and just, even though they're the adult, they're the more adult, they're the senior, they're the mother, they have the title. Some people are just not equipped. Some people are just never going to give you what you want. Um, Immediately that song popped into my head. You can't always get what you want, but sometimes you get what you need. And what I'm going to say is, just in that vein, not getting with like that picture book, storybook, which is not true. I don't care how excellent of a mom and how great mother daughter relationships you see out there or have seen in Disney movies or whatever. Disney movies are not always happy, by the way, but um, whatever that fantasy, whatever that story is that you see in your heart that comes to your brain, um, that is not real. Okay. The reality is that there's moms out here and dads, parents, we're not perfect. And I'm sure you know that as a mom and a parent, right? And also considering the fact your mom, we don't know what led her to having a baby at 15. We don't know what her path was. Um, to get to actually birthing a child at 15. That's very traumatic. Sometimes there could have been abuse before her seeking out relationships to even get pregnant. And as a result of that, and then maybe your grandmother, who was a already boots on the ground mom, decided, you know what, this is going to be my knee baby. This is going to be just another one of my kids, and maybe told her to go about her. You don't really know what happened. Like, she may have told your mom to go about her business and took on the role of mothering rather than teaching her and to be a mom. She may have just let her go about her 15-year-old business, which often happened. I actually have a couple of friends. Off the top of my head, I actually have 3 friends um, who I know had very difficult relationships with their moms early on or later in life. Um, one of which seems to have a really great relationship with her mother, but mom always has financial problems. And this friend of mine really is in there financially helping her mom because I think her mom had her at 14. And there may have been abuse prior, but to her having a child at 14. And I have 2 other friends. One specifically, a really great friend of mine, her mom had her at 15 as well. And she was raised up in the house with grandma, uncles that were like brothers, mom who was more like a sister. That was the structure. Um, And I wouldn't say it was a strained relationship, but what I'm going to say, in like the 30 years that I've known her, it went from it went from almost, I don't want to say shallow in a bad way, but not deep, to deeper, um to deeper. It may not be perfect, but no mother-daughter relationship is perfect. Um And then another friend of mine that I have, I think her mom was with the shits. Like, her mom had her early and was basically like an early version of a city girl. And mom was here, there, and everywhere, all over the place, wasn't really interested in momming, all of those things. So we don't really know what your mother's journey was. Cause look, I'm 53 and my daughter is 12. Like, I had the luxury and the privilege of having a baby at 40. Like, I got to grow all the way up before I started doing this mom thing. And your mom has a 36-year-old and grandchildren, right? Um, I'm just gonna say sometimes, the healing comes from within, and you're not always going to get the relationship that you want. Like, don't, and I'm not saying that you are, don't look to the left and look to the right for what other people have. Even though it might be tempting to see what other people have going on and feel like you want that too, that's not what was meant for you. You know what I mean? It would have been nice, but also, like Iyanla always says, when we have bad parents or we have parents that don't give us what we want, it gives us that lesson of what, like, what they did wrong gives us that lesson of what not to do. Okay. So some of us have the parents who teach us what to do. Some of us have the parents that teach us what not to do. Okay. So if you find that, if your mom wasn't there, she was neglectful, she was, leaving you with other family, she was out partying, having a good time, all of those things, that's what we're not going to do. Right. Um, it doesn't mean that she's 51, she's mature now, I would hope. And what she may have to offer your daughters may not be the elegance that your grandmother offered you, or the depth of womanhood at the moment that grandma was taking care of you. But what she has to offer now may be some fun, trips to the park, doing hair. Look at, you know what I mean? Like, we see on my other channel, Sonia, I hate to pick on her, but I am. Um, her eldest daughter was laying up under a damn gun show. You know what I mean? Like a gunfight up in the house, bullets everywhere. Somebody, you know what I mean? Like all kinds of shenanigans. Okay. Um, thank God, her daughter survived and was not injured. But there's a lot of people who had kids and didn't know what to do with them. Have to take parenting classes. We've seen on this channel moms lose custody. Like, this mom thing not being amazing is nothing new, especially on this channel because we talk a lot about it. So I appreciate you bubbling this up. I'm just saying that at 15, becoming a mother, it sounds like in your heart you do have empathy for her. And you said you do empathize with the difficulties that she faced. I would I would just ask you to stretch more than just empathize. Um, appreciate. Don't just empathize with it, appreciate it, because that, whatever that journey was, you're here. You are here. Like, let that soak in. You're here. She didn't go to the clinic. She didn't drop you off over to social services. You have all your blood around you. You're not doing a search for your family and having to do DNA tests and all kinds of stuff, trying to find who, what, where, when, all those things. She did the best she could, and she's here, and you're here. And just appreciate versus, like, bless your, you know what I mean? I understand that, bless your little pointy head, or, all those, like, it's still like, just exercise kind of the no judgment, because you're here. I think that more time you spend in contemplation with being grateful for being given life and the opportunity to be a wife and a mother, um, knowing that she fucked up. She knows she fucked up. You don't think that when she sees you living the life that might do something to her, that's not your fault. But give her some space and opportunity to grow and show up as a grandmother and do what she can do. Because you know what? All of us are not going to have those moments. Like I grew up, I had both my parents in the house. My father worked very hard. My father was a physician and he wasn't on the golf course on Wednesdays. He was in the clinic in the South Bronx working in a very busy hospital and worked 6 days a week. He was off on Sundays. My dad was gone when I got up to go to school, and he was coming home at 6 o'clock. He was eating his dinner. He was doing work, reading or whatever, relaxing a little bit, watching the news. And that's probably why I'm such a news junkie, because part of my hanging out with my dad involved doing things he liked, which was watching the news and him discussing medicine with one of his brothers who were also in medicine, who lived down the street, and my mother. That's what they did. They were nerds. They were science nerds, okay? And news junkies. And that's why I'm the way I am. I am very much of a workaholic because that's what I came from. But as far as the those father daughter outings and all of those things you see on TV and all that kind of I was one of 5 kids. So I also had to share time with 4 other kids. So I'm just going to encourage you rather than to empathize, because to empathize, you see a situation and you're giving it your heart, but that also includes judgment. And I'm not saying that you're judging her harshly or negatively or doing anything wrong. What I'm saying is come from a place of thank you. I'm here. I'm here. You're here. You're alive. We're going to just mom's not all together. Mom didn't have it together. Mom is where she's at the moment. I think, and I'm going to be honest with you, the damage of cutting off your mother, if your kids didn't know your grandmother, the damage to your children, whether they knew your grandmother or not, their great grandmother, the damage of cutting off your mother, and that the consequences of your children even knowing that that's an option could come back to bite you when one of your kids don't like the moment that you're not perfect and you don't meet the expectation of what they wanted for their life or thought that they should see, and they do it to you or it happens to them. You don't want to put a curse on your family. Like that is something on some epic proportions that could have repercussions that may make you regret that decision. Let her be. If you talk to her once a week or once a month, just let her be. Like everybody doesn't have to talk to mom 5 times a day. I loved my mother, loved her. She was a queen to me. I did not talk to my mom every day. One of my sisters used to talk to my mom every day, all day. That was her best friend. And for me, I talked to my mom once a week, twice a week, all of those things. Like the relationship you have is unique and it's a gift. She gave you life and she did what she could do. There's people out here that all they have was that mom conceived them with someone and they arrived to a hospital and that's it. Like I don't know what else to say. Like I don't you guys know me. We've had questions like this before. I think we did a question like this last week or week before where somebody was asking about cutting off family. I don't do that. I can't co-sign that. Family, it's choking me up. Family is very important to me. Okay. And I would never advise someone to cut off family unless it means your life. If you have somebody who is threatening your life and this person is so damaged that it's literally your life, then you got to do what you got to do. And you wouldn't be writing me a note. You know what I'm saying? Um, you got to meet people where they're at. Like you really do. Like everybody's not perfect. Everybody's journey is not the same. We're not going to read a beautiful novel and replicate it. That's not what life is. Everybody's story is different. And mom having a baby at 15, and I'm sure at 36, I don't know how many you got 3 kids. I don't know how old they are, but when you're by yourself for that 1 or 2 minutes, when you get the luxury of peeing by yourself, when you have that moment in the car before you go in the house, and everybody's like, "Oh, mom, homework. Can you sign this? Can you pay for this? Mom, can you iron my clothes? Did you wash my underwear? Like, babe, is dinner ready?" Like all the things, right? When you have that 1 minute by yourself, you wouldn't change a thing, right? And you got there because of this lady who's 51, okay? You achieved a husband, children, a career, writing this note because of that 15-year-old who is very imperfect, who is still on her journey and trying to figure things out. Just let her be, and just talk to her. Don't try to make things better. Don't try to, like, you said you're healing and that's good, but when you pick up the phone, just talk. Don't think about what was. Don't think about will she get better. Leave the judgment and just talk. How you doing? Oh, you got some jeans? Hey, okay. If it becomes more, hey girl, then that's what it is. My youngest sister is almost 17 years younger than my brother. My brother's the oldest, and Colette, the baby, is almost 17 years. And do you know my brother has a daughter who is 6 months older than our younger sister? So my niece, my oldest niece, is 6 months older than my baby sister. Okay. Why I just told you guys that, I don't know. It doesn't make a difference. But the reason for that is shit happens. My mom, and I don't even really remember this very well, but I was a kid. I remember my mom being pregnant with my little sister. And I remember the day that my niece, her mother, and her grandmother came to the house. I was 8 years old, and they had the baby in their arms, and I was 8 years old, and they came in to talk to my parents about what was going on, or what had happened was, okay. Um, and we have a great relationship today, um, and have had one for a very, 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 very long time. Um, But I'm just saying, life is not, you know what I mean? So I'm not sitting here coming from, I guess I was saying that to say, I'm not sitting here from the bougie black Caribbean family from Englewood, New Jersey, with a doctor husband and nurse wife and 5 kids, all went to college and all of those things. My brother had a kid at 17. My brother's kid arrived 6 months before my mom delivered. Okay. How traumatic was that for them? Um, Not even knowing that he had a baby on the way. Okay. I'm just saying, family is important. Family is precious. Family is not going to be perfect. We've had a lot of things happen with family. We've had people deceive us. We've had people, and I'm just going to say we, because I'm not going to put any names to it, have had people use names and put us into harm's way. I'm going to say it like that. Um, we've had some dirty things happen, and we still love our family just the same. You know what I'm saying? Um, let your mom be, enjoy her conversation. If mom is cuckoo, mom is fugazi, then mom is fugazi. Like, you gotta, even though you got everything and it sounds like you are living your life well just understand, mom does still have something to offer, and you handle her accordingly. If mom needs to be handled with a little bit of a long handle spoon, handle her with that long handle spoon. Okay. If you enjoy talking to her, but you're just like, damn, when are you going to get your life together? You know, again, just remember, thank you. Thank you, God. I don't know if you're a spiritual person or not, but just remember when you're looking at your kids, you're looking at your husband, and you are feeling so blessed, so lucky, so everything. Just remember from where that blessing, that miracle arrived, because miracles are God's hand with a human, because miracles happen through God, through humans, right? So that miracle came through from above through that woman. So just remember and just be thankful, just appreciate and handle her accordingly. You're 36, sis. If you got to handle her long handle spoonedly, do it. But cutting her off and making like a grandstand out of cutting her off could come back negatively on you, through your children or your children's children. Don't start that type of mess in your family. I promise you, don't do it. Don't do that, because that is not good. If you two don't talk for a year because you don't talk for a year, then don't talk for a year. But don't make a decision to cut someone off because you don't like how they're living their life, because it's different from yours. Uh, Also, because at the end of the day, I mean, that's your mom. And if you didn't care, you wouldn't be writing. And if you didn't want this answer, you wouldn't have written me, because I am not one of those cut them off. I'm not. I would never. I don't, I don't want to say I don't condone that. You do what's right for you, but I don't, that's not something that I don't co-sign that, and I don't offer that unless it's absolutely your life is at risk. Somebody is a molester. Somebody has really betrayed their right to have access. And I'm sure you can figure like your life, or, someone violates your person. People have even gotten past people violating your pocketbook. Okay. But as far as a physical body, danger of death, molestation, all of those things, that's the only reasons why I would cut somebody else off. I mean, I'm sure there's more on the list that I'm not mentioning. So, but I think you follow what I mean. Um, so if it's just mom's fugazi. If I could think of a couple of movies right now, Postcards from the Edge, Debbie Reynolds, and that story, Postcards from the Edge. And there was that movie with Cher and Winona Ryder. Um, there's a lot of people out here who, if they had the choice to take care of their kids, and mom or foster care or social services didn't come in, y'all would be living up under a bridge, living from pillar to post. You know what I mean? Like, there are some people who, for only by the grace of God did the intercession come in, where they were not allowed to take care of you in the way that they could have at 15. Um, we don't really know what mom is doing at 51. So mom is 51 and should know better by now. Who she is. Um, I have an ain't shit mom, trust me. Nothing you say will make them understand. And that's why I'm just like, just let her be. As long as she's not a crackhead, she's bringing crackheads to your house, she's stealing from you, your life is at risk, things like that. If she's just not producing and living like how you would feel comfortable, just just be who she is. My dad was at Lincoln Hospital in the Bronx. He was in Flushing, was it Flushing Queens Hospital when he first came to United States, and then he went to Lincoln Hospital, when they opened the new it was like the new Lincoln Hospital when it was, and it still is right there by Yankee Stadium, and was there for over almost 40 years. And I still have an uncle who's there, who's a physician there. Um, yeah, see, some people talk several times a day, and just because I would talk maybe a few times a week doesn't mean my relationship was any less strong than India with her mom. You know what I'm saying? Like India talks to her mom throughout the day. One of my sisters used to talk to my mom. They used to vacation together. They, they would do all kinds of stuff. They were buddies, okay? It's so healing to your heart and your soul to forgive and move on. And it's not even food, and let's say not even move on, because move on, the idea of move on is like sometimes people feel move on means go in a different direction. Forgive and proceed and just continue with your life. You know what I mean? Let expectations go. There is, I'm trying to think of this book. I'll take a picture. I'll bubble it up through Amazon. It's about releasing strongholds. That's one. And then there's also another one about like the notion and the thought and idea about releasing expectations of other people. Um, so powerful. Um, okay. I do not believe in keeping someone close just because they are family. This is a generational trauma, continues, especially if it's very toxic, in my opinion. And I agree with you. If it's toxic, we don't really know. She didn't say mom's snorting coke in my bathroom. She didn't say, you know what I mean? Like it could just be, I'm disappointed. Like my her mom could be one of us right up in here. Like we don't really know what mom is doing. What she's saying is that mom had her at 15, growing up. So she says growing up. So this lady's 36, growing up at, so having a mom who's 15, let's say you're 5, mom's 20. Um and we don't know what grandma did. Grandma could have interceded to the point where it was like, this is basically my baby, okay? Like if when you can grow up and get your own apartment, you can have her back. And then it's like people give up and it's too late. We've heard those stories too. So I don't want to infer too much because we really don't know. She says, I empathize with the difficulties and I must acknowledge she was not the best mother to me. What 15-year-old is going to be the best mother? I don't know any. 15-year-olds are a trip. Okay. Um, I was so stressed before I couldn't gain weight and was losing hair due to the stress they caused me. I'm happier now and healthier. And who knows with therapy and guidance. Yeah, I mean, I think she said she was in some therapy, but look, and then I'm gonna say this too. You gotta do what makes you feel comfortable. I'm sure in any of the dear friend, I want to cut my family off letters that's just not something that I'm going to co-sign unless it means your life, right? Unless your life is in danger. Um then you wouldn't even be writing me, right? Um there you don't have to make a big I'm not talking to you anymore declaration. And I'm going to be honest with you. Like I have a huge family, a very very big family. Both of my parents had double digit siblings, okay? Um well, my mom had almost double digit, but my dad definitely had double digit. Um, there are people that don't talk to each other, and it's very awkward. It's awkward. It doesn't do anything but hurt the family. When one person doesn't talk to another person, it's like, well, who gets to come to the wedding? Who gets to come to the dinner party? Who gets to enjoy Thanksgiving? Who gets to be invited here? It's so awkward for the family. It's shitty. It's I can't talk and be myself because I have to remember to not bring up this person's name because the minute I mention this person's name, they start to go off and they're pissed and they're this and they're that. It's very much disruptive to the other people surrounding this drama who love both of you. Okay? So maybe mom's selfish, and I'm going to be honest, sis. Doing this, like I said, could have repercussions, but it's also a very selfish act to your family at large because if they deal with her and you don't deal with her, it's just going to make it awkward because it's going to be one of those and then your kids are going to start to miss out more. So it's the self-fulfilling prophecy of what you said you were sad about that will happen because now you have made a declaration that this person no longer exists or does not have access. And then now, guess what? They won't have Christmas, even by proxy of going over to Aunt Jan's house or auntie great auntie so and so's and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So that's my best advice. Fran, I have a sister who have lied on me and stole money from me who has attacked my faith and my character and I chose to pray for her. Um and who's Andrew? Andrew, forgive her. Um and maybe Ann chose to forgive her. I'm not sure. Um yes. You guys know we went through something very personal about 3 years ago. And you guys who, follow my follow my family. Well, my vlog channel, we had a situation and it was very embarrassing and it bled over to the YouTube streets. And I'm on some very angry still, but I had to let it go. Now, me talking about it right now, does that mean I'm still not perfect, y'all? I was pissed and I'm still gonna be pissed, but I let it go. Okay. I let it go for the most part. But God's still working on me. Um, but like for this lady, sis, just be easy. Let the expectation that sis is going to be perfection next time she calls. Just if she calls to talk to you about some Fashion Nova or she's got 3 boyfriends, just tell her, look, when you come over, I need for you to hold your shit together. Talk to her. If she acts like a friend, then you treat her like one and you say, look, when you come to the house, none of that bullshit, please. Stop expecting her to be her mother because she's not that. Tell her, don't talk to the girls about this or don't talk to the kids about that. I don't want to meet your boyfriend. I don't need anybody. I don't want to meet anybody new. Okay? That was my mom's line. If you ran one too many friends to the house, aka boyfriends or girlfriends, my mom would tell you very politely, I don't want to meet anyone else new. Like basically until it's on some invitations, I don't want to meet anybody else. Like when she was fed up with your love life, I don't want to meet anybody else. Okay? Talk to her. Stop expecting her and tell her. Tell her cuz you might know better. You might know better and she might end up learning from you. Is it your job to teach her? No, but you know what this funny thing is in life? We teach people and don't even know it. Somebody's learning from you as you went and got some gas yesterday. Somebody is learning from you. They saw you at Sam's and saw how you pulled together an outfit. Somebody's inspired by you because they saw you walking with your 3 kids and they didn't even want to bring their kids to the store. We learn from each other. So you might just have to tell, ma'am, how you want her to behave when she's in the midst around your kids and how you want how you need for things to be. How she behaves outside the door is none of your, you know what I'm saying? Like it's really not your concern because she's grown and she's an adult, right? If she's out here partying and she's at spring break and she's friends with Sonia, who's friends with Nesto, sis, don't bring that to my house. You might just need to talk to her. And I'm not saying a long dissertation, but oh, you're coming over? Then this is what's going to be happening. Okay? Okay? Um, I heard that I don't want to meet any more new. Okay. It's just I don't want to meet anyone new. Unless they have a title, and I'm talking about title as in fiance or husband, don't bring them to the house. Like we're good. You work that shit out in the streets. And when you're ready to bring someone home to mommy and daddy, then you know what I'm saying? And when mom, who is basically de facto like a sister, maybe the sister that you didn't know that you had, um, then okay. What gets me is how some family members don't like the word no. Okay, but no is intrinsically seen as negative. No is a blessing. No might keep you alive. No made you not go out and get hit by a drunk driver. No is good. Okay? Yes is not always good. Okay? Create boundaries, flex that no, and talk to mom on the level that mom understands. Don't give her a long speech. Don't tell sis what to do with her life, but tell her when she comes through to come see you and the kids and your husband and all that, what what the expectations are at the house. What she does outside of that, and when she calls you on the phone, like I said, if she's on some Fashion Nova or she's on some we're getting ready to go to Mexico or I'm short $50, then that's just what it is. Stop expecting her to have $10,000 in the bank. That's not her. Sis got fucked up at was having sex at 14 and had a baby at 15. That's that's traumatic enough. We don't know what happened that led before that because it probably wasn't anything good. All right. So I feel like I've said enough. I feel like I've said enough. Um, all right. Whew. Well, dear friend takes me to a place where I just have to like literally exhale. Send this sis some positivity and some woosah. Sis, it's okay. Don't cut mommy off. Don't do it. You'll regret it. I promise you. This is about you and a journey that God has for you in your healing and your growth and your come up. Don't miss this opportunity to advance to another level of wisdom and understanding. I'm not saying be a doormat. I'm not saying put your family at risk. Just slide the bar back and listen to this a couple of times. Okay. Woo, woosah. Okay. And if there's something else you need for us to know, something that we miss, mommy's a crackhead, da 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 da, then let us know or don't let us know. But govern yourself accordingly as it pertains to the safety and sanctity of your marriage, your your house, and your babies. But if mommy is just fugazi, you can work with that. Okay, you can work with that. Um, Some Jamie, you know how look, you guys all know there's some mom out there that basically there's mommies and daddies out here that basically will take your child. Okay? They'll take them. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing that they did that, but people feel some type of way. They feel a way because they don't have like that parental access. And the kid grows up really feeling more as a relationship with their granny as mom versus mom. And mom's more like Fugazi sister. Okay. And look at the nightmare stories of like, was it Casey Anthony? Her crazy ass. Okay. God bless. R.I.P. to little is it Kaylee? Yeah. And but like I said, I have three friends, and again, these are all people I still know, and I've known over 30 years. Okay, each one of them, at least one of them, yeah, at least 30 years. 30 years. Okay, 30, 25, something like that. Since I've been an adult. And I have another friend who she was in foster care. Her mother was a damn prostitute, okay? And she loved her mother till the day she died. She forgave her. Mom was on drugs. Mom was a streetwalker. I mean, period. She said her mom was like she just said it. Like and she said the best thing her mom ever did was put her in foster care. But she still was able to maintain a relationship. This woman is grown. She has a daughter who is just accepted to college. Her daughter is like a damn beauty queen. Sis is gorgeous. Ma'am, my friend is a respectable wife and mother with a husband who handles everything. She's done well for herself. She went to Job Corps. Let me tell you this. I met this friend when I first got this job that moved me down here to Charlotte, North Carolina. I was working for Staples, and it was called Staples Business Advantage. So it was the contract division of Staples. And I was hired as like a junior account manager. And I was coming down here to meet the business, and which was called First Union. Any of my Southern folk who know First Union that progressed to that now today, Wachovia, eventually Wells Fargo, all of that. But once upon a time, it was called First Union. Okay. And I got to the Avis counter, and I met a very friendly girl from Ohio. And she was so friendly. she she was so friendly, and I said I'm coming down here to meet a client, and if it works out well, then I may get the job. I'm going to move down here. So I was down here for a week, and I was working with the business. And I also was on kind of like a fact finding mission to find an apartment and all of the things. I was 24, 25 years old, something like that. And I got the job, I got the promotion. I was working for them in South Hackensack, right off of Route 80. All of my New Jersey folks, if you're out there in Patterson and Hackensack and all that, you know exactly where I'm talking about. Um, Over there by Teterboro Airport, all that, right? I get the job. I come back to Charlotte. I fly in, and there's my new friend still at the Avis counter. And we were young, and she got that job. She'd been working for Avis for a few years. Avis had moved her from Ohio to Charlotte, and she got her job through Job Corps. And, getting to know her, she told me about her life. And I'm a doctor's kid. I mean, I grew up, I don't want to say privileged. I went to private school. I went to Paramus Catholic. Someone in the chat from Bergen County. I went to school at Paramus Catholic when it was still an all girls school. I went to St. Cecilia's. I also went to Cleveland School, which is now called something else. And my last year of high school, I did finish up at Dwight Morrow. But I went to private girls school for 3 years, and I finished up at Dwight Morrow. Anyway, when she told me I felt like she thought I was going to be judging her. I didn't care. She was my friend. That had nothing to do with me, what was going on with her and her mom. But her mom had her very young, very young. I want to say 14. It could have been 13. Okay. Her mom had her very young, and she was thankful that her mom gave her for foster care. Okay. And like I said, I have another good friend whose mom had her. Her mom was kind of like a city girl and stayed a city girl for a long time. And she gets on her nerves, but she loves her. And I think she doesn't expect anything from her than what she can do. And one of my good goods, her mom had her young, very, very young. and her mom have a great relationship. Mom is definitely in a mom mode with her, but obviously she doesn't need any mothering. Ma'am is 50. So, but her mom is like 65. Okay. Mom is not old, right? Um, and then I have another friend who I said, like, financially, she does help her mother a lot, but her mom had her maybe even like at 13, she was pregnant and had her at 14. I mean, but like I said, I've like shadow, had relationships with people who went through this, and not one of them have that I had the experience of them cutting somebody off. Totally off subject. I used to bill for Hackensack and Barnabas Health. Okay. Okay, I think that's what the dear friend letter writer needs to do. Don't expect anything from mom. And it's not don't expect, but like this is like release yourself of expectations. Like release yourself of mom being a bad bitch, or release yourself of mom all of a sudden becoming B Smith or Martha Stewart. Like release yourself of that, just let it go. Like free yourself. It's going to be freeing for you. Anyway, this was a very long dear Fran, as I knew it would be. Um so I almost feel like let's shut this down and start over. Yeah, let's shut this down and start over and clear the energy so we can have a kiki at the expense of another very strange mother-daughter relationship with my jazzy life and Mom Dukes. Shall we? Because let's just like clear the room and make it new and make this all dear Fran, and we'll just let this go. And but I thank sis for writing. I thank sis for calling me out. I thank her for giving us the opportunity to have this very deep womanly conversation about motherhood and forgiveness and all of the things. And don't make any harsh decisions too. Don't feel like you got to make a decision tomorrow. You know what I mean? Don't There's no rush. There is really no rush. The only anxiety that comes in it is from you expecting someone to be something that they probably aren't. And if you are her only child, let's just say you're her, I don't know if she had kids after you and now she's like super mom, but she can't give to you what she's giving to the new ones. It's fucked up. But then go back to thank you. Thank you. I'm here. I've got these kids. I've got this husband. Shit worked out for me. Look how, you know what I'm saying? Like, just be grateful. Come from a place of thanksgiving and gratefulness, and you will not be disappointed. Okay. Um, okay. Guys, we grew up in the time of the Cosby Show. How many of us, and then we found out what Bill Cosby was all about. Okay. We grew up with the fantasy of the Cosby Show and Felicia Rashad being able to be a successful, busy lawyer. Did they even have a housekeeper or a nanny over there? Oh, dad was home running a busy medical practice, delivering babies. And who was watching the kids? Like, what? We grew up in a place where you had two professional parents, no housekeeper, no babysitters, no nothing. Dad was running a busy OBGYN practice from the basement, and there was nobody watching the kids, and mom was a lawyer. And then the gag is we found out all about Bill Cosby later, okay? No matter what he was convicted of, just all of his shenanigans that took place. Okay. Like we got to I'm not saying let these titles go because titles are important and blood is important. But what I'm saying is Hollywood has put a lot of ideas in our head about what should be. And that's just not real. It's maybe what we would like and what we would think it to be. But who is a busy obstetrician gynecologist running a business from the basement and nobody's upstairs watching the little kids? But they never explained that to us, right? But then when damn Lisa Bonet got pregnant and it didn't fit with the storyline anymore, they sent her off to Hillman and pretended like sis wasn't pregnant in real life because they didn't know how to deal with that because they wanted the Huxtables to be perfect. Meanwhile, the actress playing the perfect daughter was in real life pregnant by the rock star, okay? The rock star. And they didn't want to explain it, so they sent her off to Hillman College where she was dressing in big clothes pretending to not be pregnant, okay? And how was that not like real life? Because that's actually what was happening in real life. Because back probably right before, let's say 85 into the 90s, yeah, that's what would happen. You get pregnant, you going down south to go be with the relatives. Okay. You going down south, you going to South Carolina, Georgia, Virginia, go stay with your granny or your auntie and them to go have the baby. And that's it and that's all. Okay. We're not going to get into all that, but you guys know exactly what I'm saying is the absolute truth and on period on that. Okay. All right, guys. You guys give me 5 minutes to reset. We're gonna come back on some my jazzy shenanigans. Okay.